My name's Dave Donlan. Kevin Karner is up there. We are inbound marketing specialists. Kevin's an inbound marketing engineer. Yes, I can recite every line from the movie Smokey and the Bandit. Raise your hands if you have ever seen the movie Smokey and the Bandit. Look at this. Wow, more than 50%. Okay, great. So, if you can tell me how many F-bombs Gary Vee dropped, and I know the exact number, Kevin and I will give you 1 hour of our time. HubSpot customer or not, we'll give you one free. There we go. 166. Who wants to challenge that? 121. One more person can challenge that. 65. Mom, how many was it?
73.
73. 65, you win.
Seriously?
You win. Closest to the pin. All right, love it. 1 hour free time. Myself, Kevin Karner, inbound marketing, engineering, whatever you want. You got it. So thank you for making this session this morning. Can anyone tell me if they ever heard of Performable?
See a few hands.
Chris had ad. What is Performable?
Performable was an awesome movie created by David Cancel
And Kevin Karner. So for those that are in the enterprise world, we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Kevin Karner. Okay? Oh, sorry. So Performable was a company that Kevin Karner started with David Cancel that HubSpot acquired a year ago. And the reason why we acquired the company is we knew that they had the right vision to go upstream, sell to enterprise for enterprise businesses, adopt inbound marketing for enterprise businesses. So all of you that are in the enterprise world that love HubSpot or have adopted inbound marketing, you're here because of that gentleman right up there. Not because of me, but because of that gentleman. So you're going to learn a lot about how to be very successful at inbound marketing within an enterprise.
Apparently, they want you to go rate the session afterwards. We'll skip that part.
So there's probably a lot of reasons why some of you guys have adopted inbound marketing. At the end of the day, those who've read the book, inbound marketing is a lot less expensive and more effective than outbound marketing. All right, I said it. There's my sales pitch. Let's talk about how we can bring this in within an enterprise environment. So I've been the director of sales for the enterprise team at HubSpot for about 4 months now. And there are a series of patterns of obstacles that enterprise companies have been running into when trying to adopt inbound marketing. One of them is online marketing versus inbound marketing. Very, very different. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. The other obstacle that Kevin's going to talk about is that our good, friendly folk at IT always gets in the way. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well, on some solutions around that. And then third thing we're going to talk about, which I've been finding very fascinating, is that the content team and the marketing team are completely different. Don't know why. We're all marketers here. We should be creating content, but apparently two different segments within the organization. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So first of all, let's talk about why online marketing and inbound marketing are completely different and why this is a major obstacle within an enterprise. So I think you guys already know this. We adopted inbound marketing. We had budget. We bought HubSpot or maybe bought some other tools. Our CEO says, well, search engine optimization, we outsource that. Social media, that's for kids. Not ready for change. So I think you guys are already familiar with this type of obstacle. Some of the other obstacles that you may have run into is that, well, we have a SEM budget, and we like to spam the crap out of people. And the reason why you do this is because it's safe. I get it, okay? I used to work at the Boston Herald. We had a line at the Boston Herald. Nobody bought ads for the Boston Herald. They bought for the Boston Globe because nobody lost their job buying an ad for the Boston Globe. So you do these things because it's safe. However, this is not inbound marketing. This is online marketing. Very, very different. So what's the solution to all of this sort of thing? Well, inbound marketing is all about first mover's advantage. And the thing about inbound marketing is those who have adopted it are far ahead of the game. And those that are in the room today that have adopted it have seen phenomenal results. So it's all about first mover's advantage. It's all about getting ahead of your competition. The other thing is you heard about Brian Halligan yesterday talk about how he always saw Steve Jobs as a visionary, how he's always looked up to a company like Apple. What's really fascinating about a company like Apple is, I mean, how many people here have an iPhone? OK, everyone just raised their hand, except for a few. I actually just switched over to an iPhone. I was a BlackBerry user for the longest time. But what I love about the concept of what Apple did with the iPhone is they were the first to come to the market. And they were not afraid of anything. And the way I always look at it is like, if you're going to talk to your CEO or your CMO or your CIO, you want to ask them a question. Do you want to be like these guys? Or do you want to be like Borders Books, who doesn't exist anymore? So it's all about change, but don't be afraid of change. You want to start thinking about companies like Apple, first who come to the market, first who are super successful. So what can HubSpot do for you if you're a customer today and help you with this? Well, you've probably seen this tool before. This is the website grader tool. This has actually changed. I didn't know about HubSpot 3, by the way. So this looks completely different, but HubSpot 3 was new to even the employees of HubSpot. But one thing you want to be is you want to be very transparent of where you are in the market today. I don't care what industry you're in. If you show your boss, your CEO, your manager that you are behind on the number of Twitter followers or behind on the number of Facebook followers, they are going to get really interested about that. This is actually an interesting slide because Salesforce.com last year didn't want us to show it because they were so far behind on social media. The other thing you want to start looking at is where are you in the rest of your industry? This is from our benchmark tool. Has anyone ever used the benchmark application in HubSpot? Great. So what we're doing here is we're benchmarking you versus industry best standards. So the other thing you could show your boss, your manager, your IT, whatever, is where are you in the market today? So we have a tool called the benchmark application that actually shows you where you are with industry best in class. If you are not converting 15% of your leads into customers, then you're behind. And you need to show that data to whoever in your organization. So one of the takeaways we're going to talk about today is why you need to leverage that data so you can be better at inbound marketing within an enterprise.
Another typical issue we run into is IT getting in the way, both sales process and after the purchase, actually implementation. So we're going to do a quick little survey. I have a couple pictures of typical IT. And does your IT team look like that? Raise your hand if you have an IT team that kind of likes to slow it down. OK, I got a few hands. What about one that's just really, really busy and doesn't get to your email templates, your landing page templates? So we got a few more. What about the guy that just hates marketers? Only a couple of us. That's good. Well, the goal is we'd really like to have all of our IT teams kind of like this. They love to do exactly what we want as marketers, get us our landing pages, get us our emails when we need them, implement the software. And so there's a solution to try to push them forward. There's always the cases where sometimes your IT team is like the one ago that hates marketers. You can't do anything about it. But the first part is we have, as you probably saw from the keynote yesterday, our app marketplace. We want to get more developers involved, both in the app marketplace as well as within building integrations with your HubSpot. So it's pretty easy, get them to sign up. They can go ahead and build an application directly within the platform, both for selling or getting people to use your tool like Eventbrite that Brian mentioned yesterday, or implementing some of these other tools. Some of them require some additional implementation. Another thing they could do is build an API integration directly with HubSpot. And so you're a marketer. You need to get your leads and your contacts into your backend system. You need to maybe do in-app notifications. Maybe you want to send off direct mail automatically based on a workflow. These are all things you could do, but you need to integrate it with the API. A good example of a customer is, Hootsuite's one of the big sponsors we have. They came on as a customer, an enterprise customer, about, I don't know, a year or 2 years ago.
Yep.
And they initially started with landing pages. So you see you got some landing pages there. Let's do some A/B testing. How can we drive people from the landing page to actually converting better? So here's 2 of their different tests they're running. But then we launched the app marketplace about 8 months ago. And now they went ahead and built an integration so that now not only can they take advantage of the integration points and utilize their software along with HubSpot, but they can also resell it and let everyone in the room use the integration. Has anyone actually tried the Hootsuite integration? Couple? Definitely check it out. I think you can use it with the free version of Hootsuite as well, so worth a shot. And ultimately, the goal is we want to get IT in here. So we have full templating engines on HubSpot 3. You probably haven't seen it all just yet because you're here and not at work using HubSpot. But we have a really pretty sweet HTML editor. There's a style engine, so you can go have your IT team build out all different styles where you can just flip a switch and it drastically changes your landing pages. It's all launched with the new tool. And so then you can use the HubSpot 3 email, the HubSpot 3 landing pages. You go in, you build it from the WYSIWYG editor, put your stuff in, send off, and not have to sit around and wait 3 weeks for IT to get to it, goes through all the procurement, all that kind of stuff.
Who here is responsible for content for the entire organization? A lot of hands. I love that. It's about 70% of people. Anyone here that's a marketer, but somebody else who's not at the conference is in charge of content? You don't have to raise your hand. Okay, a few people. Great. So when I think about the marketing team and the content team, I think of what's going on right now. I know you guys are paying attention to the Republican National Convention. Who watched it last night? Paul Ryan, great speech. You don't have to show your hands. It's all right. I'm an independent. What I love about the RNC and the DNC is I always see these 2 knuckleheads batted out every 4 years. Anyone here not know who these guys are? All right. Okay. Here's the only one. Good. Okay. So that's Michael Moore on the left. That's Bill O'Reilly on the right. And they don't get along. And what I found is that a lot of marketing organizations or a lot of marketing departments, they don't get along with their content department. And that kind of poses a problem because inbound marketing is all about creating content. So what happens is this happens. It takes forever for the content to go out. And it's kind of confusing because I never thought of, next slide. Thanks. I never thought of a marketing team having a tough time to push content out. But I've seen this a lot in every industry. I can understand maybe finance, maybe there's compliance, but some industries that are very innovative, technology, they still have this problem. They have their content team, they have their marketing team. And because of that, when marketing wants to get stuff out the door, content pushes the brakes on it, and therefore we can't get results. So, I mean, we could entertain you with facts. You create content, you create assets, you're going to generate more traffic, more leads. That might not be enough. But what we really want to do is we want to be completely transparent on the results. So here's our solution here for those in the room that are trying to get content out the door, but can't because they're getting stopped by the content team. Everybody, if you got a piece of paper or a laptop or an iPad, write down a goal that you are tied to. So as a director of sales, I'm tied to a number. And that's the number of revenue that comes in. Kevin Karner over there, he's tied to a number of how many deals he's responsible for assisting the sales team. Everyone in here that are marketers, we're all marketers, you are tied to a specific goal. And if your goal is generate more traffic or generate more leads, it's not really a goal. You want to think of okay, is my goal to generate 10% more traffic or 20% more leads over the course of the next year? That is your goal. And if you write down that goal, we're going to help you achieve that goal. So the first step is to try to figure out what goals are you tied to, tie a number to it. The next step is be very transparent about your goal. I've been in sales for 12 years, and one thing I love about HubSpot is, like every sales organization, we have a leaderboard. Email goes out once a day and says, this is what sales is doing. This is who's on top. This is who's at the bottom. Salespeople love it when they're on top. They hate it when they're at the bottom. Do the same with marketing. Be very transparent. Send out a weekly or a daily email about how well you're doing. And measure it daily. I can't tell you how many organizations I talk to, and they say, oh, we look at our marketing charts quarterly. Marketing is the reason why your sales go up. So if everyone in the world is looking at the sales daily, or if you're publicly traded and people are trading daily, why are you only looking at what you're doing to make your company more successful monthly, quarterly? Look at it daily. And like that sales leaderboard, send out an email. Send out an email to the entire organization. After that sales leaderboard email goes out, send out an email and say, we generated 1,000 new leads this month. Or we're on pace to generate 2,000 new leads, and 10% of those leads are market qualified. And even if you're behind, same thing on the sales leaderboard. When we're behind on sales, we still send out that email. Just like as if marketing, if they're behind, that email goes out as well. So embrace the challenge, embrace the success, and if you're behind, embrace it. Because I'm going to tell you right now that if you send out an email and one day you generate a lot of traffic and a lot of leads, and someone on your general management team sees that, they're going to say, awesome, what do we do? Well, that content article that I wanted to get pushed out that normally takes 4 weeks, we got it pushed out in 4 hours. And then when you're behind and your management goes, well, that email I got from you last night didn't look as good as the email I got from you last week. You're going to say, well, that content article we wanted to push out, we can't get it out through the content team. So be very transparent, be very open on the success, be open on the wins, be open on the losses. Because if you're behind, and it's because somebody else is not helping you, then you've got to be very transparent. You've got to let management know about that, and they're going to make serious changes within the organization. Here's some stats here. You guys probably already know a lot about this stuff, but 24%, I mean, the data speaks for itself. So what are the tips for success? So, I mean, inbound marketing is still relatively new. And within larger enterprise companies, and I see it every day, it's very difficult to adopt. And you have all these obstacles. We're all marketers here. We want to adopt it. We want to embrace it, but we run into these things. So first of all, teach the benefits of inbound marketing to your enterprise. Show the data. Show where you're behind. If you're not behind your competitors, show where you are behind in your industry. We have a great tool called the Benchmarks application. It'll tell you if you are ahead of the curve or behind the curve. If IT gets in the way, I mean, I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you're in marketing, right now is you're in the best job right now. In a few years from now, I'm going to tell you right now that marketing is going to have more budget than the CIO. They're going to have more control over the company than the CIO. And you should still today, some organizations you do, but I'm going to tell you a lot of these enterprise companies, they're going to start moving. So work with your IT department. If they're going to be really hard on this stuff, get them in the developer community. Have them build some apps. Our app marketplace is really, really cool. You can build an app today, just like the iPhone, and you can sell it. I think right now, HubSpot, we take 10 cents on the dollar. You can keep 90 cents on the dollar. So if you have any IT people that love this stuff and are very techie or geeked out, then have them go in the app marketplace and build an app. And then lastly, just you got to strengthen the alignment with the content marketing team. I know it's hard. I know for some industries there's compliance and there's this person who gets in the way or that person who gets in the way. Be transparent on the results. If you send out a press release or your content marketing team sends a press release out and the results are great, send an email to the entire organization. This is what happened when we send out this press release. If the results suck, do the exact same thing. The sales department does it every day. It's been doing it for thousands of years. Marketing needs to start doing the same thing. So be transparent, embrace progress, but don't be afraid to also embrace when things are not going your way. Because if things are not going your way or traffic or leads are not being generated and somebody sees that, the first thing they're going to say is, well, why are we behind from last month? Or why are we behind from last week? Because the content team can't get the stuff out fast enough. And we're going to change that.
And another thing you want to add, too, is not only strengthen the alignment from marketing to sales, but also do it to show the progress that IT is bringing. So when IT does push a landing page template out or an email template and you get great success with it, make sure that people know about it. So IT feels all warm and fuzzy inside. Oh, I got this email template out. I had a 30% open rate and then a 25% click-through. If you show IT this, they're going to be certainly more apt to continually build what you're looking for versus if you're just giving them bad news that, oh, email didn't work, the templates didn't work, we're not getting enough leads. If you show them how we're working, how we need to progress, then they'll certainly be more on your side and stronger alliance there.
Anyone ever see the show? I think it was like Jerry Springer. Anyone ever seen that show? Okay, so once a month we do what's called a smarketing meeting. It's sales and marketing. And the marketing team goes up and they say, this is what we're doing in marketing. And then the sales team comes up and they say, this is what we're doing in sales. And then we always finish with what we call a final thought. So our final thought is this. A lot of people have always said, take big risks, get big rewards. The biggest risk right now is doing nothing. Inbound marketing is not a risk. But if you don't adopt it, that is the biggest risk. And if you don't adopt it today, if you didn't adopt it yesterday, you're putting the company at great risks. So I see it time and time again, companies like Borders, companies like Circuit City. I see the same old crappy marketing that they've been doing for years. This is going to go on and on and on. And I know you're saying, well, I'm a B2B, these are B2Cs. Guess what? The same could happen to you. The biggest risk you could take is do nothing. The biggest risk you could take is say, oh, well, I'm not going to fight with IT. Or I'm not going to push the content marketing team. Or I'm not going to push my CEO or my CIO. That is the biggest risk. You guys have seen for the last 3, going on 4 days now, that this is where it is and this is where it's going. So not doing anything is the biggest risk that you could take. And that's what we're here to talk about today. We know it's tough. I go into enterprise companies 2-3 times a month, and they all say the same thing. We want HubSpot, but we can't write blogs. Or our IT will not let us put up a landing page. I get it. The reason why you guys have a website is because that is a marketing tool. You own the website. IT does not own the freaking website. You guys do. So until we can find a way to break these barriers, it won't be risky at all. Thank you very much. Any questions? Any questions? Yes. Yeah, sure.
Kevin's helped me a lot with a bunch of things on
Awesome.
onboarding.
Awesome.
So I don't have the obstacle of IT or anything. I create all the content. I have access to the website. Everything. Yeah, thanks. But what I do have to conquer is the perception of like the big shift in philosophy from inbound to outbound, or outbound to inbound rather. So right now we've got a huge database of contacts, 174,000 or so in HubSpot. I can tell you not all of them are valid, for sure. And the philosophy among a lot of the people in our organization is sort of, isn't it better to email 174,000 every month, 5 times a month? And so we're afraid, some people are afraid to just turn that switch off, because we are getting some responses from it, right? So we're getting signups to our webinar. We're getting hundreds of people coming, but we're emailing 22,000. But the percentage is very low. So how would you start preaching to these people that we have to start segmenting better, we have to start doing more inbound, we have to start doing marketing people love rather than just buying lists and spraying and praying?
Yeah, perfect. Great question. So the question was, we have a list of 174,000 people. How do we market to them appropriately rather than spam the crap out of them?
Yeah, in the face of getting results out of spamming.
Yep. So, couple things. I would go to my management team and kind of like where you saw the presentation yesterday, I'd ask them, have they ever bought anything from Amazon.com? Or have they ever bought anything from Zappos? Or has their wife ever bought anything from Netflix or anything like that? And then I'd ask them again, were you a return customer? Did you just buy one thing and that was it? Or did you actually come back, buy something? And then I ask them why. And that will kind of get them start thinking of, okay, well, when I came back, my experience was very different. And it's the same thing that goes to email. If you have 174,000 contacts in your database, you should be sending 174 different emails to 1,000 people. Because I don't care what you sell. I'm 35 years old, I'm married, working on a kid. I accept marketing very differently than when I was 25 years old and single. So if you send me an email that is the same email that a 65-year-old gets or that a 22-year-old gets, I'm going to react very differently. So that would be my first thing. If you have a list, I wouldn't look at it as one email to 174,000 people. I'd look at it as 174 emails to 1,000 people at a time. And you want to segment that list. You want to heat it up. You want to make sure you have the right message. You can have the same offer. This is what's so great about some of these other companies like Amazon or Netflix. The offer is always the same. It's either a book or a movie. It's the exact same offer, but the message is different. So you want to make sure that your message is very marketable to the person that's on the receiving end. Cool.
I think the biggest thing is people are afraid to get rid of some of the bad ones, but that's the process.
Yeah, there was a great statistic that MailChimp did last year. About 25% of your database expires anyway. Yeah. So, you're not really getting rid. Don't look at it as getting rid of the bad ones as a bad thing. You're cleaning your database. You're sanitizing your database. You don't want to email people that don't have an email address or don't work there anyway. That's a waste of a good email. So look at it as sanitizing the database, cleaning the database out.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Any other questions? Cool. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, we'll be at the front of the stage, but thank you for coming today.